If you'd like to play competitive Pauper Commander online, join our community by using the link in the description to join the Sanctuary PDH Discord channel. We hold free weekly events Fridays at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. Winners get a pack of stickers and tokens from PDH community members. We also do live commentary for each of these events, so follow us on Twitch and turn on notifications, even if you can only pop in to say hello. Sanctuary also holds larger PDH tournaments with cash prizes. Check the announcements channel in the Discord for more information on upcoming events. If you'd like this video, subscribe and comment. It helps us promote Pauper Commander as a format. Now let's get into the game. Thank you for tuning in. I'm here with Derek. Hey, say hi, Derek.
Hi.
We're here for Sanctuary's F&M doing commentary. In first position, we've got Jonathan on Gretchen Titchwillow. In second position, we've got AwesomeRusco on Dargo Keskit. Third position is Clay Lindsay on Hollow Marauder. And in fourth position, we've got Duke Slayer on Savage Ventmaw. So, you were just discussing who's the arch enemy going into this pod?
Oh, well, more specifically, who is the scariest? And in my opinion, I am the most afraid of Savage Ventmaw because I don't know what the deck does. I know what all these decks do. I know what Gretchen does. I know what Dargo and Keskit does in the abstract. I know what Hollow Marauder does. We've seen a bunch of that deck. Savage Ventmaw, I don't know what it does. So it's the one that I'm kind of most keyed in on right now.
Yeah, I mean, we do know that in Pauper Commander, there's not like extra turn spells or extra combat spells, so it's it's not going to do something so unpredictable. It's probably just going to be slamming fatties into play. I was going to say, yeah, I'm not as familiar with Dargo Keskit, and you were saying that it is the old versions were the Thermopod combo, and that's what I would be afraid of it doing. So like. Also fear the expected.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we all know that Gretchen kind of just wins out of nowhere, and Hollow Marauder can be pretty oppressive. It's like one of the very powerful control deck right now. And you see, like this is like a good example. It can run cards like Innocent Blood very, very easily and kind of for free. Innocent Blood has, it's not the easiest card to put into every deck. It does have specific building requirements, but good here. Just gets a 2-for-1, gets that token off the table, gets rid of a Voyaging Satyr.
Yeah, I was going to say, we were just talking about Gretchen winning from nowhere, and a Voyaging Satyr being in play is definitely the opposite of nowhere. Like that's you could win the game next turn from that position pretty.
It's a easily. Insert untapper here is a combo piece for
yeah.
Gretchen. But yeah, to give you an idea of Dargo, you see we have the Nimbrite schematic and the Mycosynth Wellspring. If you cast a Keskit on that board, if you kept that token, you can activate Keskit, probably cast Dargo that same turn, draw a bunch of cards. It's pretty explosive once you actually get the pieces out. And as we make our way around, Duke Slayer throwing out some classic Gruul cards, Vinhorn Elves and Goblin Chirurgeon as a piece of protection, and another untappered support for Gretchen, Lay Druid, or June Porter Druid, sorry.
Yeah, and then Rusco coming in with a Skirk Prospector, where you can sacrifice goblins to make red mana.
It's like a Black Lotus for Dargo, basically.
Yeah. Also, can act as a combo piece in act as a Thermopod in some combos.
Mm-hmm.
I imagine with the ability to tutor that this deck has, they're not just on, one 3-card combo or 2-card combo. It's probably a network.
Yep. Here comes a Tithing Blade, gonna, again, just clean up a bunch of stuff.
Oh, yeah, that's full value.
This is a big Tithing Blade.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay, Fortitude Druid's gonna hit the bin. We're gonna Fanatical Offering from Rusco here. So sacrifice the Goblin in response. Draw 2, make a map token. And Duke Slayer's gonna have to make a hard choice. Get rid of his Elf or get rid of his protection piece. Probably bin the Goblin. Yep, that's what I'd expect.
But that does show the wisdom of playing out, instead of playing Keskit, just playing out a less consequential piece.
Yeah, get in with that Vampire. I forget the name of that card. It's a 2/2 for 2. I think it has lifelink.
It does have lifelink.
And then it mills you 2 when it enters. It's a pretty cool card. I have it in my Vampire deck.
It is Desperate Bloodseeker.
That's the one. All
this
right.
one. We know it's a haste source.
I don't know the name of it. Yeah, it taps to give a thing haste. It's a 1/3. Trailblazing Historian from March of the Machine. And then a Seeker Sunlight. So 1 mana, 1/1, pay 3 mana, and it explores. So it's a good mana outlet. Good thing for Savage Ventmaw.
Yeah. Maybe I know that I've seen Savage Ventmaw struggle to get to 6 mana. They really want to hit that really quick and then have their whole hand be, fatties that they can deploy two of, double spell, something of that caliber.
Yeah, these cards that dig, like Seeker and other things in green, they're really really great cards. Gruul does not have a lot of access to its library outside of these sorts of effects, so it's good to have them in a deck where you're making just a lot of mana.
So is this New Horizons out of Gretchen? I know it's a land enchantment.
Yeah.
It should be gaining them. Yeah,
Yeah,
gaining them 3 life.
It's a 3 mana. Yeah, 3 mana adds additional color when you tap the land. Yeah. And then a impulsive bill for Rusco here. So lots of stuff to sacrifice to a potential Dargo or even a Keskit. But we're not pulling the trigger on anything just yet.
I was going to say there was an Ichor Wellspring right before that. So now he's got both of the Wellsprings. It's a lot of virtual cards that are going to come in handy against a Hollow Marauder deck. That's
right. And yeah, notice the Hollow Marauder decks are kind of notorious for running the full suite of, Fleshbag Marauder and all those effects. So being a little cautious in the face of those is certainly fine. All right, I'm going to Ghastly Demise, get rid of that Haste Granter. That's pretty good. Ghastly Demise is a pretty cool card. Yeah, Red Zone with your Grizzly Bear. Hell yeah.
I mean, yeah, if it's got lifelink, you take him where you can get him.
Yep. It's beautiful free attack. And post combat, and got something else. Oh, a Curse Marauder. Yeah, another one of those.
Sacrifice more creatures, just.
Yep, this is pretty brutal.
Whiling away the resources of the other players. So by the time that they, refill their hand with Hollow Marauder, they've got a stranglehold on this.
Mm-hmm. All right, back to Duke's Lair. We hit our 3rd land. We've got our Elf, so we have 4 mana. Only 1 red. I don't know how many double red cards in this deck, but only 1 red mana available.
That Finhorn Elves has watched several of its friends die.
I know. He's running out of friends. Soon it's going to be him.
The Chirurgeon helped him survive. Not the type of protection it usually likes to do, but it'll jump in front of an Edict as well as...
The bell will soon toll for thee, as it were. Got a glimpse the Unspeakable. Is that the name of the card? You exile 3, you can cast them, and then at the end of the turn you put them all in your yard, and you make a Scion or a spawn for each one. It goes to the yard, so we're gonna make 3 spawns. Yep, there they are.
This means we're going to the end step, and it's Glimpse the Impossible.
Glimpse the Impossible. There we go.
Unthinkable is the mill spell.
Well, I said Unspeakable. I named a card that doesn't even exist.
Yeah, it didn't come up. You're right.
Yeah, no. So now we've solved our mana problem for the ramp deck here. Now we've got access to a ton next turn.
Yeah, that should be a hasteless Ventmaw.
Hasteless Ventmaw, yeah. Thank you, Jonathan. So 3 mana, Vizier of Tumbling Sands. This is an untapper. One of the blue ones. So the blue untapper is just untap any permanent. Fortunately that includes lands. So you can also cycle it to untap a permanent in a pinch if you need to. But it's a 1/3. It's a sturdy body. It's a pretty good card.
That deck's got Masters. That deck's got like 11 or 12 untappers usually. Yeah. I don't have the list in front of me, but it's usually 11 or 12, and so far 2 have died. And we're on our 3rd now.
That's right. Energy Refractor. So it's a mana filter.
Good combo piece.
Yeah, when you're just making an infinite colorless mana, sometimes you gotta turn it into a color. Chromatic Star. Okay. More stuff.
I think he drew that off the refractor, so he's not going to be able to get the card off of it right away, but
that's okay.
Yeah, it shouldn't be a big deal. I guess he does have a treasure up there, but
it's a map. Oh, he has a treasure and a map. Yeah, you're right.
It does look like both Jonathan and Rusco have missed their land drops. I think we're in Clay's turn, and Clay hasn't made a land drop either. He's got 2 creatures in the graveyard. That would make Hollow Marauder cost 5.
Of course, you got to get in with your Desperate Bloodseeker first. It's high priority. A specific Gretchen win con, it usually just involves making infinite mana, drawing your entire deck, and then you can draw everyone out with compulsive research.
There's also Piracy Charm if you can get back 2 things out of your yard and loop.
Yeah, or you draw until you get capsize and then capsize everyone's boards. You know, there's a number of things.
At that point, winning is trivial. There's enchantments there's land enchantments that buff your creatures, and you can just say like, play all my dudes. They're infinitely large. I don't think Gretchen has defender either,
No.
and it has haste sources. So it's got a
So
lot
we
of
got
ways
another
to win.
edict here. Yeah, another edict from Clay. 2-mana sorcery. Each opponent sacrifices a creature. If you collect evidence, you can make them sacrifice their biggest creature, but that's not really relevant on this board, unless you really want to get rid of that Findhorn Elves.
I don't think
But
he's
I don't
got
think we
the.
need to.
I don't think he's got the converted mana cost of things in his graveyard that it's like inconsequential. It would probably have to eat those creatures.
Yeah, looks like Clay played a Witch's Cottage for his land for turn. Didn't put anything on top that I could see. Now we're back to the Duke Slayer. Are we gonna do it? Nope. Well, I guess we still could.
Yeah, Utopia Sprawl. That's mana neutral this turn.
Mhm.
Let's see, Savage Ventmaw is a single red? Yeah, it is. So he could. You're right. But a lot of the time, I think with this deck, I would specifically be questioning, should I play my Ventmaw, or should I play the thing that the Ventmaw would have played? Where you've got Eldrazi spawns, it does change the math of like, yeah, I probably would rather have the repeatable source.
It depends on what you're trying to do. If you can take a turn off to set up the Ventmaw and then just, set up to where you can double spell next turn, I think that's better. I think like the tempo involved in doing something like that is really valuable. Just like dumping a bunch of stuff as fast as you can. If you want to like play something else and like, hold off on the Ventmaw, I don't think you need to apply that pressure right now. So I don't know if you need to, but I guess he's just not going to do any of that and just cast a Devoted Druid. Which is fine. Gonna have another land aura. We're just gonna pass. So we got a Shield Sphere from Rusco.
I'm trying to find the name of that one, and it's escaping me.
Looks like we're gonna bring out a Dargo here. We're making a pile of things. Yep, sacrifice 3 things, pay a red. There's our Dargo.
This is where a
Things are
sacrifice is.
sacrificing.
Mhm.
Yeah. We're gonna draw 2 cards and get a land from our library into our hand. From the Wellsprings and the Chromatic Star getting sacrificed.
Makes sacrifice look more like a payoff than a cost sometimes.
Right.
That's a lot of work to get it to look like that, but boy, does it look good here.
Yeah. Mountain, there we go. Snow-covered mountain. So you have Dargo, and it's got an Edict protection, so that's good. This is a good board for Dargo. Not much is going to get in the way, that's for sure.
Yeah, and Clay is down to 1 card. So, and if he plays the Hollow Marauder off, he gets another land, is able to play the Hollow Marauder, it's going to take up his whole turn. So
right.
I think now is like the safe zone. Like, go now, sprint.
Right, yeah.
Part of the math I was trying to do on Savage Ventmaw is Gruul decks don't have a great way of refilling, and so sometimes they just rely on using the command zone as like, okay, well, this is at least a body. That would encourage me to maybe play Savage Ventmaw before anything else.
Yeah. Yeah, Clay really needs to find a way to get this Hollow Marauder out there, because he needs to draw some cards, and Hollow Marauder is really good at drawing you a bunch of cards. Because he's going to have to figure out a way to get past this Dargo. Boom, Chain Devil.
Mm-hmm.
Another Edict. Sacrifice a non-token creature.
So he didn't attack with his Bloodsucker, whatever the vampire is called.
So we just threw away 2 damage.
Just threw it away. Nothing. The punt.
Just threw it away. Right in the garbage. Oh. Nope, Clay, yeah. Oh. No. There it goes.
Desperate Bloodseeker. Goes to the yard.
So we've got a creature count of 3. Right, surely now we will see the Savage Ventmaw. Oh yeah, highlight those spawns. Get those guys out of here. Cash them in.
Since it was non-token, they had to sacrifice the Findhorn Elves, so they have to use these non-renewable Eldrazi spawns now.
We've got 3 cards in hand. That's what I like. That's the one thing I like about Moxfield Playtester for this is that you get to see how many cards they have in their hand. All right, tapping mana. Okay, that's a Reckless Impulse.
Yep, a nice little impulse draw, so exile the top 2. Got an Evolution Witness, that's a good hit. And a Whisper Silk Cloak.
It's a good hit too. But only 5 mana for 6 CMC worth of cards. Oh, but you can have the Devoted Druid for an extra. Cash it in.
Yeah. So, like, you could do either a Whisper Silk Cloak and attach it, or an Evolution Witness and activate it, or you could just play both of them at the cost of a -1/-1 counter.
I like being greedy here. I'm going to cast both of them. If you give me those cards, I'm casting both of them. I don't want to waste either of those. I think they're both really good.
I think I'm apt to agree. If you're playing, oh wait, does the Impulse draw, you can do that next turn as well, right?
Actually, I believe so.
So in that case, I might do something like playing the Evolution Witness and activating it this turn.
On your next turn, yeah.
Because that could also be a land drop.
That's true, but what about casting your Vent Maw? When are you gonna do that?
That's true.
We gotta get something going here.
They're going with Evolution Witness.
Yeah.
Either choose whether they're going to do it now at sorcery speed, which I think is probably what I would do because I don't want to get blown out.
Mm-hmm.
Now we're in Gretchen's turn because there's a Drift of Phantasms being transmuted for a 3 CMC spell.
Orchard Spirit, an untapper, desperate for untapping.
Yeah, but they don't say when you count the 11 or 12 untappers, they've also got tutors.
Yeah.
Are any of the untappers a wizard? I think there's
Galvanic Alchemist.
Oh, that's a different type of untapper, but that one's pretty important.
Yeah. There's the what's his face? The clever conjurer is a wizard. Pretty sure. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
Any of the blue ones. I know Vizier is a cleric. I don't know how many blue ones there are outside of Clever Conjurer, but I imagine any of those might be wizards. I don't think any of the green ones are.
I think you're right. I think it's probably just that one, if I were...
And it looks like we're just killing somebody with Dargo here. Got a Buccaneer's Bravado.
Oh my goodness.
Plays blocking. He's going to go to... What? 14 commander damage?
But yeah, Buccaneer's Bravado gives the creature +1/+1 and double strike. Bumps it up to an 8 power creature.
Yeah. Well, it gives any creature +1/+1 in first strike. If it's a pirate, it gets double strike.
Yes.
Dargo is a pirate for those playing at home.
But we're seeing that Hollow Marauder is getting more hate in this pod from Dargo right now trying to take them out than even like Gretchen. Gretchen doesn't have anything in play other than land enchantments, but that's also not unique to this game. That's the case a lot of the time.
That's usually what Gretchen does. Cast a lot of land enchantments and then...
yeah, I mean, it doesn't have untappers, I mean.
Right. So now Clay's in a position where he just has to, like, not die to the Dargo. It puts him in a position where he needs to use his resources to fight Dargo almost exclusively. We're going to deprive the Hollow Marauder. He's going to hate it out of the game pretty hard here.
Well, there was a video we just put up on YouTube that was a double Hollow Marauder pod that I recommend like going and watching, maybe opening in a tab after this.
Yeah.
We're just seeing it all over the place right now, and if you don't beat them down early, they do take over the game.
So we're going to adapt our Evolution Witness for Duke Slayer here, and what are we going to get? What could it be?
I would be willing to say the haste source.
You could.
That's how they've been playing it so far, is like they didn't get their land. I don't think that they're getting a Chirurgeon. Findhorn Elves isn't exciting.
No. Yeah, this is like kind of just like a really, I don't know, not a great holding pattern of just like setting up for the next turn, setting up for the next turn, setting up for the next turn, not actually accomplishing much. I assume that when they pull the trigger, it'll be worth it. I just don't know when that is. Because now, like, you're setting up your haste creature for your Vent Maw, so that's another turn off, not really doing much.
The logic does quickly become like, okay, if I'm going to be playing Vent Maw next turn, or this turn, and then it attacks next turn, versus just playing my haste source and I attack the same turn anyway. Like, I get it. I think that's probably what they're thinking through.
We're doing it, everybody.
Six.
Here comes the dragon. Boom.
The Burninator.
4/4. When it attacks, you get 6 mana. It's what, 3 red, 3 green?
Yep. We're on to Jonathan's turn. Plays a land.
Kind of a precarious position for Jonathan, too, because Clay is on death's door, and then Jonathan will most assuredly, I think, be the target.
Yeah.
Being the combo player, the remaining, or the lone combo player. Well, I mean, you know, outside of Dargo, obviously. Who has this fancy beatdown plan with your 7/5 trampoline commander.
Does seem like right now Dargo is going to be the one dishing out the damage, so that's a fine perspective to take on. Like, yeah, it's we're not saying that Dargo is going to get attacked because they're doing the attacking for sure.
Bunch of cards in hand, enough mana to do any number of things. 4 mana is almost infinite. You can cast infinite snuff outs as long as you have life.
So there's a treasure and then also 4 mana. So
that's true. 5 mana, that's even better.
Even if Dargo ate it, they'd be able to play it for basically 1 mana. Just like sack that treasure, the other 3 things, you're there.
Yep. Yeah, treasure is a Black Lotus for Dargo. Everything's Black Lotus for Dargo.
Still have enough room, or still have enough mana left over to Keskit even.
Yeah. Sideways, boom. Rumbling in.
I mentioned how the Gruul decks probably want to use their command zone as a source of card advantage like that. That's something that Dargo's like incredible at.
Yeah, I mean, what's better? There's no card advantage better than killing your opponent with 7 cards in hand.
That's true as well. Here's a nasty end.
A nasty end. Yeah, draw a bunch of cards.
That's 3 since it's legendary.
Yep, and notably, it also reduces Dargo's casting cost by 2.
That's a dispel.
If he wants to recast it. Oh, look at that. You'll love to see that.
It's got the answers. Counterspelled that Hollow Marauder. Rosim's saying how effective a way that is to deal with Hollow Marauder. Not a lot of other things do well, since you don't want to kill it. You maybe want to hate their graveyard.
Yeah, just never let it hit play. Like, once it enters the battlefield, you draw 3 cards off it. Like, who cares if you kill it? You already drew 3 cards. Counterspelling it is a way to make them not draw 3 cards. All right, and all of a sudden, Duke Slayer's sitting pretty on his 4/4 flyer, uncontested.
I mean, yeah, I mean, Gretchen's probably about just as scary, even though Duke's got 8 power in play. Although I might be changing my tune if there was a Whisper Silk Cloak attached to it. That would help.
Yeah, exactly. But unfortunately, the Whisper Silk Cloak is gone forever.
Oh yeah, because it was
yeah, it was exiled.
Last turn was the turn that they could have played it.
Right. Play with a whopping, respectable 3 cards in hand.
That incredible insight. Last turn was last turn. Good.
All right, we're just gonna pass.
So there's a Fertile Ground, so another land enchantment. Still have 5 left.
Looks like we're just gonna go to combat. Good with me. Adding our mana, 6 mana in the bank. We can even cast an 11 drop, a 12 drop even this turn if we wanted to.
The Devoted Druid.
Yeah. Give me an 11/11 Ivy Elemental. Let's see that.
That would be sick.
Okay, this one's good too.
Wild Heart Invoker?
Wild Heart Invoker, one of the better mana sinks for your green decks. 4 mana, 4/3 elf warrior, I think. I don't
Shaman.
know. It's an elf. It's an elf. That's the important part. Pay 8 mana, gives a creature +5/+5 and trample, which is a big.
That's huge. Repeatable, instant speed, trample.
All right, looks like Jonathan's just going to catch Gretchen and pass. Surely nothing nefarious going on here. And then AwesomeRusco's going to follow up getting bamboozled by that Dispel last turn into a Flayer Husk here. So Flayer Husk, notably, is great with Dargo. It gives you 2 things to sacrifice. Living weapons are generally very good. Get Keskit out here.
So I've been trying to follow up and just check on these enchantments. It's weirding me out that they're all on separate things, because with an untapper, you usually want all of them to be on the same thing. I don't think that any of them tap for 2. I've been trying to check up on that.
Oh, Hollow Marauder. Gonna activate Gretchen response. TMU safekeeping. Just gonna fire that off preemptively, I assume.
Yeah, last card in hand, might as well gain the 2.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean Clay's drawing a card off it regardless. So we've got TMU safekeeping, so it's 1 card. Clever Conjure and a Panic Spellbomb.
So none of those cost more than 4.
They sure don't. So Clay's gonna do 1, a 2, a 3 additional cards. A little Ancestral Recall attached to your 4/2 flyer.
Suddenly he's at 6 cards in hand.
That's right. And not dead to Dargo next turn, we think.
Yeah, he's also got a 4/2 blocker, so that Savage Ventmaw is most likely not coming. Oh, well, that's not true. Now there's a Wild Heart Invoker. Duke can do whatever he wants.
Yeah, and he can definitely activate the Wild Heart Invoker.
So Wild Heart Invoker enables things like you can attack somebody with all of your creatures, and then whatever they block is the one that you pump. Make sure that damage rolls over, you don't lose anything in combat, and probably do 15 sent to someone or whatever.
Yeah, just blast somebody to death with that thing. He's pretty close to 2 activations. He can, during an attack with the 6 from Ventmaw, he can get up to 14 mana, and 16 gives you 2 activations. So we're pretty close.
So he needs 2 more, or 1 or 2 more.
Yeah, and that does involve activating the Devoted Druid twice. It gets him to 14. All right, sideways, boom. Who is going to get Ventmawed?
Jonathan looks like they've been the one
adding the mana. We're gonna possibly see an activation here from the Wild Heart Invoker. I do love my Wild Heart Invoker activations, that's for sure. Yep, can add 6, then pay 2. That gets us to 8. Jonathan's gonna untap that island, add some mana, and then we're gonna Moment's Peace. Elegant, an elegant solution.
Prevent all combat damage.
Where's the Flaring Pain? That's my question. Where is the Flaring Pain? I've become more and more convinced that if you're going to play a red deck that involves dealing combat damage, you should probably play Flaring Pain. Most of the red decks, it's not a dead card because you can always discard it and cast it for flashback. It's a good card. I think more people should play it. That's my 2 cents.
Yeah, there's a lot of creatures that end up getting like protection like protection counts as damage protection.
That's right. Yeah, it hoses that too. It's got a lot of uses, Flaring Pain.
So it looks like we're in Jonathan's turn. He's playing a Shrine Steward, so that's going to be able to go find any enchantment. And usually that's a freed from the real that on this untapper on the left would be infinite mana, win the game, draw your deck.
Yep. We have a response. Galvanic Fist, Blast, Punch.
It's the energy
Galvanic
lightning
something.
bolt.
That's right. We're going to TMU safekeeping in response.
Gain 2 life, fizzle your spell. Clay has not so much as touched his hand.
Nope. He's tapped out anyway. You just need, if it's not snuff out, it's not worth. Yeah. But this is all Gretchen really has to do is set up a board like this, look for an opportunity where, you're not going to face more than one piece of interaction in response to your combo attempt, and then you're golden.
Yeah, and it's the board state that it's had up to this point of like it can barely establish one untapper, and this is like maybe the first time we've actually seen it actually be able to establish that and untap with it.
Yep.
And then as soon as it does, it's just game over. So it just requires this amount of prejudice that like I see this deck, you have to die. I don't care what you're doing. I don't care what's in play. I see my opportunity. Otherwise, this is what happens. But Gretchen takes another one. It looks like they were able to go infinite, and everyone's scooping it up. So well done, Jonathan.
Right. Yep, it was really great navigation by Jonathan, kind of finding finding that avenue where Clay tapped out. I think that was like the big thing. That's where I think you're gonna find the most like interaction against you is from the black deck. I don't think Savage Event Maw really. I'm sure it runs interaction in some quantity, but that's not the deck that I'm going to be worried about if I'm trying to combo off. It's going to be like the mono black control deck, along with any one random piece of interaction from any of the other decks. So luckily Clay tapped out there. He had a Defile in hand, which would have come in handy there, but unfortunately no mana to cast it.
Yep, I think he was feeling under the gun. The Dargo was pressuring him. But thank you for making it this long into the video. If you could leave a like, subscribe, and comment on this video, it helps us promote Pauper Commander. Anyway, enjoy round 2. Looks like we're here for round 2. We had a little bit of technical difficulties, but in first position we've got Jonathan on Gretchen, second position Clay on Hollow Marauder, third position Duke on Savage Vent Maw, and fourth position we've got Azrael on Samut. So we saw Gretchen mulligan the hardest before this game, and sometimes that will deter players from attacking them of like, oh well, they're playing from behind. But I will say that in my experience, these Simic decks only really need 4 cards.
It looks like we got a couple of them already here. We got an Arbor Elf, we got a Land Aura on the battlefield already, so the mana generation is pretty good, solid. A lot of mana dorks actually going around. We got an Arbor Elf for Duke Slayer. We got a Elvish Mystic for Azrael, and Clay playing a Mind Lash Sliver, I think is the name of the card, and a Shambling Ghast. Mind Lash Sliver, it's a 1-mana 1/1 black creature. All these slivers get pay 1 colorless, sacrifice it, each player discards a card.
That's why Derek is the best in the business. He saw a Mind Lash Sliver and was like, yeah, I know what that is.
Yeah, I know what a Mind Lash Sliver is. Who doesn't know what a Mind Lash Sliver is? Just another symmetrical discard effect. That's also a creature. Pitches to, it bumps your Hollow Marauder count.
Fits perfect.
Yeah.
That's something.
Checks boxes.
That's something I expect Clay to know as a Sir Conrad player.
Right. It looks like he also cycled a Street Wraith on turn 1 too. So we already got that going as well. Creature in the graveyard. Another Mana Elf from Duke Slayer.
They haven't made their... So this is turn 2, so they have made their second land drop.
Yep. Right. More mana. Sacrifice by Elder. Ramping. Everybody's ramping. Except for Clay.
Yeah, Clay will play some catch up in that he's going to make everyone fall behind in just a second here, I suspect. Although, there's now, I think, too many creatures to effective, like, an Edict doesn't do much when a Gretchen is out.
That's right.
And you could, okay, well, I got to play my Edict, I'll make them sacrifice Gretchen, and then next turn, they just replay Gretchen and have mana to spare.
Yeah, and you look at Jonathan's board, he's got 2 untappers, he's got an Arbor Elf and an Orchard Spirit. So lots of mana, access to a ton of mana right now. Clay's going to sacrifice a Mind Lash Sliver. We're all going to discard a card. Looks like Clay's going to discard a Gloomfang Marauder? Gloomfang Mauler, sorry.
Yeah. Bedhead Beastie?
Yep. Forest for Azrael. And I think a land for Jonathan.
This is where you got to get tactical about, like, there's probably a Hollow Marauder coming, so if you're going to discard something else beside your Bedhead Beastie, and then you could save that maybe. It looks like we've got a subscriber. Thank you for the 13 months, Sniff. Hell yeah.
Welcome, Sniff.
Bunch of Hollow...
Elder.
I was going to say Hollow Marauder emotes.
Yeah. An Elder Fang Disciple hitting the board here, so it's a symmetrical discard creature, a 1/1 for 2, Elf. Enters the battlefield, everyone discards a card. Each opponent discards a card. Bramble Worm, that's a new one for a Minish Remastered for Duke Slayer there. You can exile it from your graveyard to gain 5 life. Pretty cool.
Very cool.
Notably though, like, Jonathan's in a very powerful position right now. He has access to, 6, 8 mana next turn with the 2 untappers.
Yeah,
That's
plus a
a
land
lot.
drop if he makes it. He's
Yep.
swimming in it. Gets to hold up a blue here.
Yeah. Always count on needing at least 2 pieces of interaction between the 3 opposing players to stop Gretchen. That's assuming that, Jonathan only has 1 counter spell. Or Tammy's safekeeping or whatever.
Because if you haven't looked at a Gretchen deck, they don't have to devote cards to draw cards. Their commander just does that. So it's all mana production and interaction. They max out their mana production in like 12 slots towards untappers, like 10 slots towards land auras. That leaves 40 cards for them to interact with you or maybe win the game, and their game-winning cards also are advantage in different ways in interaction.
Yeah, exactly. So Jonathan's pretty close to wrapping it up. Not far off. Just needs free from the real, and that's that. Clay is notably like stripping cards out of people's hands, which is the argument against cards like these is that you force other people to discard their interaction. It makes it easier for the combo player to combo. Hollow Marauder is templated similarly, but the fact that it draws you 3 cards lets you have that interaction rather than having to rely on your opponent. So it breaks that paradigm a little bit. But still, everyone's kind of low on cards now, and Jonathan's in a pretty good position. Nothing really going on for the 2 beatdown players.
Clay's really working towards getting those last couple of cards out of Jonathan's hand. I don't know where he's at right now, but it's always the last one they hold on to their Drift of Phantasms or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
That Arbor Elf has a counter on it, which enables the other parts of the combo if he's running the, I want to call it a Zemek Guild Mage, but it's not.
Vision Graph Mage?
Yes.
Alright, looks like we got an island off the top onto the battlefield, and we pass. Okay. Back to Clay. I guess John's out of cards. He did Mulligan, I think, too, so I would explain that. But luckily, Gretchen draws a bunch of cards.
Yeah, so we said that they could produce 8 mana. That's 2 card draws and some additional land drops.
Yeah, so it makes Gretchen like her stalls. She stalls way better than everyone else because the mana sink that draws you cards. You can do nothing and then just refill your hand pretty easily. Especially when like the 2 players who are ostensibly supposed to be providing the offensive pressure in this game are just ramping into nothing really.
I'm going to torture Derek here for a second. So I've heard the argument that like if we were to just ban Gretchen, like the people would just play River Hoopoe, but River Hoopoe is similar, but it costs 5 and doesn't let you put a land in. That putting a land in is with Mystic Sanctuary is how a lot of their combos work.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, you had to hear me. I don't need your opinion or anything. I just.
No, you're good. There's the Hollow Marauder. Discarding a light. Okay, see that? I don't like discarding a Lightning Bolt. So you still got 2 cards in hand. That must be really good. Careful Cultivation, it looks like, for Azrael.
We're now in the awkward phase of the game where Jonathan has, he's out of cards now, but it's the things off of the top he can just suddenly win, and since he's had an untap like that and looks like he's dead, might not attract the amount of hate that maybe he deserves.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if you're Clay.
And I say hate in the most respectful way, like it's just that deck is powerful.
Looks like we're sending into Jonathan with our 1/1s here. Probably just looking to trade stuff off, get stuff in the yard. It's reasonable. I mean, the Elder Fang Disciple doesn't do much once its trigger resolves.
Yeah, it's best as another land in your yard for the Hollow Marauder.
Now Clay taps out with 6 cards in hand. If I know anything about tapping out, that's the turn when Jonathan's going to top deck the Freed. Like Duke Slayer just passes through. No land drop, nothing to do. Which is not good, if you're wondering. Still stuck on 3 lands, both these players. Disappointing. Malevolent Rumble, so 2 mana. You basically mill 4 and keep a permanent. Make an Eldrazi spawn. Let's see if we can get that 4th land.
I mean, seeing that's definitely like what you put in your deck to help find combo a lot of the time. It's good in every deck, but when I see the tutor in play, the elf tutor, Herald something, Wirewood Herald?
Wirewood Herald, yep.
Yeah, that's what I start thinking of, like, what are you looking for?
Right. Got a Wood Elves. Just take the land. Don't be greedy, just take the land. Oh, okay. Take the Wood Elves. Can't cast Wood Elves this turn, it's a problem. If you're not hitting your land drops, a card like Wood Elves is not actually ramping you. Oh, because he has... Okay, never mind. He has a spawn. He just didn't put it on the battlefield. So I guess this is technically... Well, I don't even know if it's better than getting the land. Because if you're not hitting your land drops, quote-unquote ramping with a card like Wood Elves doesn't do anything. You're just paying 3 mana to hit your land drop, which is bad. It's much more efficient to actually just have a land.
Yeah,
so,
you might be able to keep your Eldrazi spawn.
Yeah. Like if, for example, if he takes a land there instead of getting the Wood Elves, he plays land for turn, has 3 lands untapped with a spawn. He can play a 4-drop, or just another 3-drop from his hand if he has one. This way, he taps out and just has a 1/1 to show for it. So like, in a position where Gretchen is like pretty close to being able to combo, I don't like tapping out.
Again, Gretchen is passing, has 2 cards in hand now.
Yep, no need to do anything. Not under any kind of real pressure. A lot of mana to work with. Just no reason to do anything but sit back and draw cards. Clay's going to play a Shriek Horn and mill some stuff. It's 1 creature and a land.
Shriek Horn really being one of the powerhouses of the deck.
Really turbo some stuff out.
Strongest mill card in the deck, and then it leaves behind an artifact that you can sacrifice for this or that. Here's an Abyssal Gatekeeper.
Oh, you love to see that. Abyssal Gatekeeper is great. If you have things, it's technically like more of a resource negative card, because when it dies, it puts a trigger on a stack for everybody to sacrifice a creature. So you lose 2 things, everyone else loses 1 thing, ostensibly. But in a deck where you're trying to run things into the bin and like get rid of your Shambling Ghast or whatever, like it's not as much of a negative.
Yeah, it like if you really look at it, it is very similar. Like if you have an Edict creature, like it's in play, you have another Edict creature, and you sacrifice the Abyssal Gatekeeper, and then its sacrifices the original one. They've both functioned the same way.
Sure.
It is just the one with the tricky, like, you don't want to go too low on permanence when you have this.
Right, and plus, like, with Hollow Marauder, it has an additional level of functionality because you want to be able to recast your Marauder. You want to have it be able to recast and draw the extra cards, get the extra discard. So being able to sacrifice your Hollow Marauder off of the Abyssal Gatekeeper makes it not matter so much. It reduces the cost. It gives you access to another cast. And here's the Vent Maw. About time. Drew that 4th land, thank God.
About time. You play your 6 mana commander on turn 5. We've been waiting.
I know, right? Alright, got a board full of elves and 4 lands. Let's make the magic happen here. Samut notably is not great on this board. Nothing to really push damage with.
Yeah, but you do kind of want your Samut in play prior to playing your big things. It's just hard to find that development turn when your opponents are doing such powerful things.
Yeah, it's just like taking a setup turn. It's really hard to find that time.
That's the thing that I told Hive when I handed them Sphinx Summoner was, it's going to feel bad. You have to find a turn to play your 5 mana commander, and you don't really progress your board a whole lot that turn, but you just do it when you can. Looks like that Ezreal's going to do it. I was just going to back up and say, also, these players are considering like what's in their hand from the booth. It's really easy to be like, why don't they just cast their commander? Why don't they activate the things that are in play? But
Yeah, no, importantly, leaving up a red mana, using like opting to tap the Elvish Mystic, which could, be used to get in front of something to block and protect the summit. So it's worth noting. So we're going to activate targeting the Wild Herald and scry 1. Leave it on top.
Gretchen being a 0/4 with that +2 only makes this a 3 power, so
Yep.
That can't attack Duke
far.
either. I guess that you can attack Duke if you want your Wild Herald to die.
I like kind of attacking into the Abyssal Gatekeeper.
Oh yeah, good call.
I think Clay would be amenable to that too. Yeah, here you go. This way, you take something off the board for everybody. You get to sacrifice your Herald, tutor up an elf.
Because it's a 2/1 now, you don't have to just like lose it in combat and then also just like get put back in the Stone Age. Yeah.
Yeah.
Might be some discussion here. It might be Jonathan maybe saying, do I want to save this so that I don't have to sacrifice? But looks like the trigger's on the stack for the Abyssal Gatekeeper, and yeah, now we're activating.
Yeah, I imagine it's pretty... Like, the surface level thing here is just like, oh yeah, just sacrifice Gretchen, we've got 1,000,000 mana. Yeah, there we go. Notably, Ezreal going to lose his Scry, partly to put on top for this elf trigger, but I guess that's okay. You get to tutor up something cool.
Yeah.
Not sure what yet.
It's usually Ivy Lane Denizen.
Oh, sure.
Do you have any predictions?
In a deck like this, I don't know. If I'm thinking of like big beefy beaters, then like, you have Finglade Fugitives as an elf. There aren't many like super high mana value elves that are good. They're usually just smaller utility things. Maybe Evolution Witness.
Yeah, Evolution Witness is really strong. My mind jumps to Elvish Aberration just because that's like the old school, like I have Fierce Empath in my deck and I need something at my top end, and this is before like all the good cyclers were printed.
Sure.
I would be surprised if that's what he found. I would respect a Llanowar Visionary just as a value play.
Mm-hmm. It's the Llanowar Druid.
Oh. It's the one that untaps all your forests.
All your forests, yeah. Yeah, Llanowar Druid. So, the funny thing about this card is that it's not it's untap all forests. So it'll also untap Duke Slayer's forest and Jonathan's forest, notably.
Oh, that's a good spot. I've never seen that. I'm
curious to see if it gets activated and they actually catch it, because I'm not sure that it's not something that I think people realize.
I didn't.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a lot of the same way that like a lot of the old elf payoffs trigger off all the elves on the battlefield, not just your cards. The way that the template things now, Like
that's a good way to remember it.
Well-Wisher, Timberwatch Elf, they are symmetrical universal effects that affect the whole board. So like Priest Titania on this board would give you so much more mana because you had elves all over the place.
So we made it to Clay's turn?
Sure did.
So that's a Gretchen in play.
Recast Gretchen.
Mm-hmm.
Death's Head Buzzard.
It's a shrivel on a stick.
Yep. Not like super good right now, but it'll mop up some elves. Doesn't really, I think, hurt the people you want it to hurt right now. Sultevi Adnate. That's a combo right there.
Yeah, Sultepi Adnate sacrificing Hollow Marauder is 8 mana to your pool.
Or 7 mana, right?
Is it 7? Yeah, 7.
Yeah, I think 7. Gonna Shriek Maw a couple lands in the graveyard, or Shriekhorn rather. Sideways. Just send it at Jonathan.
You know, 80% of the points spent were to vote for Gretchen. So I think that means 80% of chat wants Gretchen to win.
That's right. 80% of chat. Sorry, chat. You all love Gretchen. A bunch of Gretchen lovers.
In a PDH Supreme Court ruling, we've deemed that channel points are people. And
that's true. They all have a voice.
They are people, and you don't want to know what happens to them when you spend them.
All right, here we go. We got they're untapping here.
Duke's turn.
I just want to see that Venmaw turn sideways.
Savagely. You can kill Samut, but that is wrong.
I don't think that's where... I mean, I don't think that matters right now.
Death's Head Buzzard might mean your Arbor Elf dies if you attack that direction.
Killing Death's Head Buzzard just gives Jonathan more room to sit back and draw cards. If he... Like, you're just killing things that don't actually address the problem, which I think, you know, I think Clay can only do so much right now. I think Jonathan drawing 2 cards every turn cycle with Gretchen without being under any other pressure than the Hollow Marauder is, you know, it's tough.
Looks like post-combat now.
Yeah, he attacked as Earl, I think, for 4. Cast a...
Bonder's Ornament for 3.
Yeah.
Paid an extra 1 to activate Bonder's Ornament.
Okay. So we paid 7 mana to draw a card.
But we'll be able to do that much more efficiently next turn.
That's true.
Erosium, like American politics. Huge distinction between who I voted for and who I want to win. I am an advocate for ranked voting.
Alright. Looks like we're not doing much else.
Still in Duke's second main.
What? Alrighty. Now we've got what, 2, 4, 5 mana, 6 mana left to work with. Something was tapped, right?
So...
Six mana. Yeah, you need to tap a land to activate the Bonder's Ornament. I think they're all untapped. I don't know why, but
they didn't play that Druid, did they? Llanowar
No.
Druid? No, not yet.
I'm not sure why all of Duke Slayer's lands are untapped, but we're not going to worry about that right now. Because you know what? It's Azrael's turn. That's why. Gonna untap. Got some 1/1s. but all creatures have haste. So, we could play a land, play a 5-drop, and swing for the fences. No way to know for sure. All right, so we're taking down. Probably not playing a 5-drop. Play immediately offers up the Death's Head Buzzard.
Yeah, this is going to be one of those cases where, I mean, I want to be... I've done it a few times this game. I want to be so anti-Gretchen and be like, the whole table should just be absolutely going after this person. And any attack I see elsewhere is like, oh, what?
Yeah.
But things get messy.
Yeah, here comes the 3-2. Just going to get in front of the Gretchen. So,
but Jonathan's got a 2-2? Is that a 1-2?
they're both two. He has 2/2/2. So the Arbor Elf's a 2/2. Orchard Spirit's a 2/2. And Gretchen is a 0/4. 3 damage marked. So like, if we can get the Death's Head Buzzard in the graveyard, it'll kill Gretchen. But what does that take to do that? Like, what are we investing into doing that? Rolling Thunder. Sure.
A nice way to sweep up the board if it resolves. It's an X spell where you can divide it up.
Looks like X equals 3, so we can do 1 on Arbor Elf, 1 on Orchard Spirit, 1 on Death's Head Buzzard. And that'll wipe out Jonathan's board, clean up the Mana Elves. Okay, the Widows will stick around, not the Mystic. Leaves Clay relatively untouched, assuming that's what the targets are. Yeah, this is a pretty easy. I'm going to counter that from Jonathan here. But this is the thing, like, it's really, I think that's another axis that you kind of have to engage the Gretchen player on. If they're just stockpiling cards, like, you need to make them use the interaction and not just like hold up like 3 spells to protect the combo win. You have to put them in positions to like utilize them and whittle their hand down while you have opportunities to, while the stakes are a little bit lower. So, it's fine.
A common thing you hear from Gretchen players is, I'm just trying to accumulate resources. That's the problem.
Resources is like 6 counter spells.
Yeah. It just becomes, okay, yeah, you can produce 40 mana and you have a hand that's full of interaction and tutors.
Right. Yeah, like, put them in positions where they have to use it. That's, a good place to be.
I have been thinking with these Gruul decks, I'm like, man, I just want to see a Rolling Thunder. And we finally found it.
Yeah, it's a good one.
It was a small Rolling Thunder too, X equals 3, but it was going to take out 3 creatures.
Yeah, it definitely had big implications. The Death's Head Buzzard changes the math quite significantly on a card like that.
So Clay shows a Vendetta.
Mm-hmm.
Response out of Jonathan.
Dispel? No, store up. Okay.
So +1/+1 and untap the creature. In Simic decks like this with land enchantments, untapping the creature is better than a refund.
Yeah.
Like, it can refund the mana, and spare mana turns directly into cards.
Mm-hmm. It sure does.
He's not losing toughness on this Vendetta since it was fizzled.
Yeah, nice. Preserve that life total. Get your Vendettas countered, everybody. Hurry here first. It's the only way you'll survive.
It is it should be part of the math when considering, like, should I put Vendetta in my deck? That there's so many decks that are like, I want to protect my thing, or I'll just sack it. That I don't know how many times that resolves. Probably it resolves when you want it to least. Like when you're being attacked by like a 14/14 Wilson or something. But even then, it's not commander damage.
Yeah, and no one's casting Ruthless Spells on Wilson anyway, so what does it matter?
It's true. It has hexproof.
Yep.
Sarcasm.
Literal hexproof. All right, so we're sacrificing. Oh, this is an Undying Malice.
So which one is this one? Is this +1/+1 counter untapped?
Yep. Tapped. Returns tapped with a counter. Should it die? I'm not saying it will. Echoing Truth.
So this is an Echoing Truth on Hollow Marauder. I can't imagine that feels terrible for Clay.
It certainly doesn't. Are we gonna sacrifice anyway? I mean, even if it got bounced to hand, like you can cast it for 1 mana.
Yeah.
Instead we're gonna add 7.
This increases the commander tax a little bit, but you get more mana short term.
You might still be able to cast it for 1 mana. His yard's pretty stacked. But we'll see. So we got 7 floating.
So it it would have to be 8 cards in the graveyard to be 1 mana. That counter could say 8, yeah.
I feel like it says 8 or 9. I'm not quite sure.
Clay loves his little spin down.
Yeah.
I advocate for dice with pips because I play too much webcam games.
Here you go. Here comes Hollow Marauder on the stack. Interestingly enough, Jonathan, for all his correction activations, has not been putting a lot of lands onto the battlefield. So, since the reason he has a lot of action. But, looks like it resolves. We're going to be discarding a card. Archaeomancer goes to the yard. A Void Fate goes to the yard for Duke Slayer. And then Azrael is going to pitch something here too. One of his 2 cards in hand.
So Archaeomancer does cost 4. That's 1 less draw. But it's going to be that...
Druid into the yard.
Clay draws 2.
Yep. Bummer, you only drew 2 cards.
Looks like he's at 7 mana with 5 still up.
Yeah.
I think it said 8, but he was like, oh, I needed to spend my mana, and then... Corrupted Conviction.
Gonna draw a couple more cards. 1,
2.
And probably recast some Marauder again. Yeah, he's not even done with all of his mana from the Adnate yet.
Hiroshi saying that 1 card not being, that Jonathan was able to deny can make a huge difference.
Of course it can, yeah. Because right now, I mean, Clay's just kind of passively doing his disruption thing, but really, the big benefit here is you're drawing into ways to stop Jonathan from winning the game. That's what you want to do.
Yeah, it looks like he's
3 cards at a time.
He's got 3 cards left as well. Getting that Archaeomancer is also really significant because that's how you win the game if you don't have an untapper and you can't untap. That's how you win out of nowhere, really. Just with a snap.
Sure.
Being able to untap 2 lands that produce at least 6 mana. 7 makes you go infinite. I don't think he has that, which would partially explain why he's willing to part with it.
Yeah. Not sure if Duke Slayer's discarded a card yet. Moxfield says he has 2 in hand, but I don't think I saw anything go to the yard. Reckless Impulse for Azrael and Juniper Druid for Jonathan. And a Carrion Feeder. Okay.
I can do some work right now.
Sure can.
Get Hollow Marauder back in the zone. Death's Head Buzzard is now anytime at instant speed, and then itself, and there could be another Hollow Marauder on the way.
Honestly, like this board, I kind of like just Death's Head Buzzard as a 2/1 flyer. Just send it in there. red zone him.
Because it's futile to try to get Gretchen's hand completely empty, because it'll just kind of refill.
Yeah, just try and kill him. He's already at what, I think like 8 commander damage from Hollow Marauder, so not too far off. 2 more swings will do it.
Yeah, Hollow Marauder does have summoning sickness, but that Death's Head Buzzard doesn't. I think you're right about that. Mire Triton?
Oh yeah.
It's a Death Toucher for 2 mana that mills 2 couple
2
lands.
Death Touch, mill 2, gain 2. Just a good, like a very functional card. You know, does the mill thing. It's cheap. It has Death Touch. It blocks well. Just checks a lot of boxes. It's like really good against what Azrael's doing.
Yeah, a little Death Toucher like that when you have Gruul opponents who may be attacking on the ground. Even if they trample, they don't want to attack you, especially since it's just extra mana for you if it's in the yard.
Yeah, exactly. Triton going to the graveyard can pump up the creature count by 1.
It's one of those things where it's the way that that deck plays politics without having to speak, just in the way that the cards do.
Yep.
That I really enjoy.
Hollow Marauder going up to 6 commander attacks, and we're going to see it hit play one more time. Yes, I think he's got 10 creatures in his yard right now.
Cameo
Safekeeping, yep. That's a good one to get rid of.
Carrion Feeder can't block, but it's gonna get pretty sizable pretty quickly.
Yeah. There's Evolution Witness into the yard. Draw. He may not be making Duke Slayer discard a card because it is targeted.
That's true. If you feel like someone's on your side, you can just say, it's also pretty frequent that when someone's saying like, I'm going to counter your Hollow Marauder, you say, what if I didn't target you? And you can get that person to say yes.
Yeah.
I do have to weigh, like, who would I rather have cards? Would I rather have the Hollow Marauder have cards or someone else? And when the Hollow Marauder's being, you know, good to you, then not making you discard, it's really easy to agree to.
Yeah. So we're going to exile that Brainable Worm, gain 5. Wow, we had a land. Nice.
He's now at the point where he could recast Ventmaw if he needed to.
Mm-hmm.
But otherwise, this is going to be 6 plus 8. Oh, there's a land enchantment, isn't there? 9.
Yeah, one of them is a Wild Growth.
Just a 15 mana? 15.
Fireball.
Serious. Looks like Jonathan took that one.
Yep. Oh, we're gonna Walduvian Rage, sure.
Okay, so that would be for 8. That's probably what commander damage is lethal.
Yeah.
Looks like that graveyard went into their hand, so that's a scoop. Duke's able to take out Gretchen. Clay's able to not target Duke and enlist his help to take out his enemy.
Yep. Yeah, it just goes to show you how important it is to just like run Jonathan out of cards, like run him through those counter spells, run him through his echoing truth, to the point where you can just kill him. I know it seems futile sometimes to like just play into all of that interaction, but somebody has to do it, and it has to happen. So, you know,
The
it's not
alternative is that
glamorous.
they just have those resources and go uncontested and win the game.
Right, exactly. It's something that a lot of times nobody wants to do because it disadvantages them against the rest of the table. But the fact of the matter is that you're all going to lose anyway. So sometimes you just have to bite the bullet and kind of play nice with your opponents and try and politic a little bit. Like, make sure they're aware that you're the one falling on your sword to prevent everyone from losing, and hope that that buys you enough of goodwill to leverage into the late game.
Yeah. Do you have anything to say to the chatters who put their points on Gretchen?
Absolutely not.
You heard it. You heard it, chat. We have nothing to say to you.
You know what you did.
It's always fighting the last battle that they fought.
All right, Samut. Let's try and draw into some threats here. I guess we didn't draw one, but
Kind of rough.
yeah, Glade just ran him out of cards, and he doesn't have anything else going on.
That's
I'm curious,
something.
like, about the threat density of this deck. Like, we've seen a lot of cards, and none of them have been threats. They've all just been kind of like small utility creatures.
Yeah, it does. It feels like there's like a few in here, but a lot of this deck is revolving around like, what if I had a 1/1 that was, just a 3/2 now every turn.
Yeah.
I don't know. This is definitely we're not seeing most of the deck here.
Mm-hmm. It certainly seems that way.
But that's my experience. I built a Planeswalker deck and played it for Planeswalker Month, and not having that extra creature, like it being a creature and a win con, I built the equipment one, and I was just like, I have to, like, I ended up planning to put as many creatures into play as possible to equip them, and it was still like an uphill battle compared to just playing like
Sure.
Bruno or Battlehammer or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Very cool little experiment.
All right, now we're gonna fleshbag it up. Clay's in a pretty commanding position right now. I think it's gonna be hard for him to lose this game.
Yeah, he can choose Death's Head Buzzard, and Azrael is just completely out of creatures, but he's going to choose Fleshbag.
Yeah, I mean, right now it's just it's an evasive threat. I think it's more valuable in that capacity right now.
It's a blocker for Ventmaw. That's really important.
Tithing Blade. Yeah, we'll just clean it up.
Doesn't matter. Okay.
And this is what happens when the mono black control deck draws, 7 cards in a turn. You just see that these are the things that happen.
It's been really important for me lately that if I'm going to be playing a deck that's not like combo or control, if it's in like a role like these green decks, is just to make everything as resilient as possible. I'm putting Loathsome Chimera in there. I just expect to get punched and beat down.
Yeah, you really have to make sure that your command zone is what's going to win you the game. I think that, having a commander that can win with commander damage is really valuable. I think that having a commander that doesn't need to be enabled by certain specific cards in your deck is valuable. I don't know. I think it's really, really good practice to just bake a lot of what you're trying to do into your commander and protect it.
Yeah.
Because there's always shifts in the meta, right? Like pinger metas are counteracted by an incremental life gain things and a lot of stuff, and it's hard to win if you're a Glaring Fleshraker when your opponent has a Suture Priest, right, or a Soul's Attendant or something like that. Having a commander that can just beat down and provide a plan B is really valuable, and that's what makes Hollow Marauder so good, is it has access to its win condition and its engine in the command zone. And the whole deck can be built to support that.
Yeah.
Whereas here, you have two decks that are ramping, so you need your ramp spells and then you need your threats. There's an A and a B component that need to come together. Venmaw is a little bit different because it is a threat in the command zone, which is good. But with Samut as a planeswalker, that's only half the puzzle, right? Like, what are you doing if you're not ramping into anything of value?
Yeah, you're just at the mercy of what your deck hands you that game,
Yeah.
and with a lot of like A, B, and C parts of the deck, it does get a little rough.
Yeah, the only way to get around it is just to really pack like such a high threat density that, statistically you'll draw into X amount of cards throughout the game that can attack and kill people. But I'm not sure what the threat density of this deck is. We've seen a good chunk of it and nothing really of value. We need to see those rapacious ones. That's what we need.
Yeah, that was sweet last game for sure.
Yeah.
In the YouTube edit, that's going to be between games that gets cut, but we did see a rapacious one clean up a game.
Mm-hmm.
Impact Tremors. It was fierce.
Oh yeah.
One card left.
Wild Growth, more mana.
Grab a water bottle real quick.
Mm-hmm. Wild Growth not so hot here. Are we perhaps enchanting an opponent's land? Taking down.
Back. I'm doing it. I'm hydrating.
No reason not to take Samut down. If it's able to target other players' creatures, I'm not familiar with the card very much, but if you can target other players' creatures with it, there's no reason not to take it down and have it die and then recast it with full loyalty. If you have nothing else going on, I guess. Looks like we're going to enchant Duke Slayer's Mountain with our Wild Growth. Okay. Sure.
Sting.
Yeah, and then add a juice.
It could just be to like, they're the threat. kill Duke Slayer, and so you get more draw steps.
That's true. Kill the player with the most Wild Growths. Gonna cast activate our Bondage Ornament here. And then let Clay go to his turn with this big O board. Got the 4-2 Hollow Marauder, got a 4-4 Carrion Feeder, and got a 2-1 Buzzard in the air. Along with a lot of mana from that Soul Deviatinate.
Doing the famous caster thing I was talking about earlier, I want to just be like, activate Tithing Blade. I want that Tithing Blade to flip.
Yeah, craft it.
But honestly, he's attacking for way more. Let's see, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I don't know what that guy behind the Hollow Marauder is. Probably.
I think it's just a token of some kind. I don't think it's relevant. It's just like something that's not in play, but off in the corner of the playmat.
It's not like a wicked roll.
No. Yeah, now you got a 10 damage team unopposed. It's pretty good. And now we're going to do the thing here, draw a bunch more cards. Why not?
Duke really has 3 cards in hand still?
Mm-hmm. I dislike how several of Clay's lands are foil and the rest are not. it seems irresponsible to me. All right, we're blood petting. Get that creature count up.
What if you get thought
Pays for
seized and you
itself.
can't remember which swamp it was, and your opponent gets free information?
That's true. That's true. You gotta be careful about that.
I bet you he's just like, I haven't found all of them that I need yet. He's just working on it.
Oh man.
Clay does build some expensive PDH decks, like
Yeah.
$1,000 plus, doesn't he?
I don't know about that. Looks like we're gonna Cabal Ritual though. Let's get 5 mana. 5 more. We have so much mana. How many times are we gonna cast Hollow Marauder?
What's Erosium responding to, Derek?
I don't know. I don't listen to myself when I talk. All right, here comes Hollow Marauder. Now, Clay's putting the screws to Duke Slayer. Mr. Duke Slayer, sir, tear down this wall, aka your hand. Bless you. Bless you.
So do they discard that Avenging Hunter?
Yep. And we're gonna Calling the Weak. Lots of mana coming out. A lot of mana going on right now. Calling the Weak, add 4. Recast the Marauder.
I will say that Hollow Marauder is a deck that you can 1v1, which is why it ends up in 1v1 so often, and it does end up winning a lot of the time. But
Yeah, it's got a lot of really good tools.
Once you're down to the 1v1 and they're not generating so much cards, it's possible.
Sure. That's fair.
Clay's worked really hard to establish a board that he can't lose from, though. For sure. Gray Merchant.
So we got what? 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8?
That's right.
Woof.
Gain 16. It's like life totals are updating, so that's fine. Got no Ventmaw.
Nope. I mean, theoretically, Duke Slayer could tap out to cast Ventmaw this turn.
Right. Thanks to Azrael.
Possible. I know, it was very much thanks to Azrael.
If Ventmaw wins, let's see. That's 18,000 points that we just throw in the garbage because no one wanted to put 1 point on Ventmaw.
Good riddance, that's what I have to say.
I'm voting. I'm hoping that Duke Slayer wins now, for sure.
If Ventmaw wins, we all deserve to lose our points.
We're off of Bonder's Ornament.
Classic move. Ramp.
This is the perfect time to ramp.
Yeah, I mean, even if you look at, like Duke Slayer's cards here, he's got, 2 Land Cyclers in his graveyard, and that's the only, I guess Avenging Hunter too, but everything else has just been ramp and Bolduvian Rage.
So, Duke just enchanted Azrael's Forest with that Fertile Ground.
Oh, great. I'd like to see that. Just 2 guys, and they're having a good time.
This is a creature. It'll have haste. Fortunately, there's going to be 6 power, 6 toughness from Clay in the way that would just love to hop into the graveyard.
Yeah, I know.
Rapacious one!
There he is. We're living the dream now, everybody. Okay, Azrael, this is your chance. Take it out on Duke Slayer. Pump it up. Get them. Make your tokens. I'm not gonna do a whole lot, but make your tokens.
Did he already minus it, or?
No, not yet.
I think we're in combat.
Oh,
So it's just going to be 5?
curious.
That has to be going at Duke if it's just 5. Unless I'm wrong. I could be wrong. Yep, Clay actually just took it.
Yeah, I don't think Clay cares, honestly. He's at, what, 38 still?
Oh, yeah. He's probably like, okay, I'm just going to play Gary again.
Yeah, all of, like, the Clay's got 6 power in the air, which is more than enough to clock this game. I'm going to sacrifice Gary to the this carrion feeder here. Looks like he's going to get Samut off the table, just down ticket to put it back in the command zone, which is fine. Not doing much else with this mana, so let's get a fresh Samut out there. Oh, okay.
The
Dread Return the Grey Merchant.
Yeah. He
Yep.
also has enough creatures in play that he could just easily do it a second time with the flashback.
Yeah.
We said it was 8 last time. I don't think that's changed.
Yep, has not changed. He can sacrifice the Grey Merchant, Dread Return, and then do it again for 4, I think, right? Or 5? Could sacrifice 3
I think it's
creatures to do
4.
it. Well, if you sacrifice...
yeah, I guess.
Because the Tithing Blade is 1, so Grey Merchant would be 2. You can keep the Death's Head Buzzard for 4, and then Tithing Blade is 5.
Just gonna opt to activate Add Nate and add 7 with Hollow Marauder.
Or
Cast
you
a
could do
Crypt
this.
Rats.
This is also a possible thing you can do.
He has 4 mana left in his pool. Is this awkward?
A touch. Because now you're just dead to Rapacious One. Nah, never mind.
It
Looks like they're
kills.
scooping it.
It kills Rapacious One. Yeah.
Oh, sure.
He may
Yeah,
have had more mana in his pool than I.
Azrael's fun, just dead anyway. Even if he didn't,
Yeah.
even if he just did it for 4, put Azrael to 2, he's got an empty board. And Clay has a million things and a million life. So, yeah, pretty comfortable.
Oh, you could also sacrifice the Crypt Rats and then. Oh no, you couldn't do its ability and sacrifice. Anyway, okay.
Well, no, you can put it on the stack and sacrifice it, right?
No, because Dread Returns. No, I mean not with Dread Returns specifically.
You're talking about Dread Return. Okay, yeah. You're
Okay. Right. Okay, well that's gonna be it. Let's do who won? Clay
wins.
Hollow Marauder 6%. 1 person.
Good job. Congratulations.
Let's see who it is. If you didn't get your points in, make sure you get them in next time. 18k to Too Much Do.
That's way too much due.
Hell yeah. Okay, so let's get out of here. Anything you want to push before we go?
No. Oh, I do little deck building streams, building my casual commander, Pauper Commander decks over on the RC YouTube channel, at PDHRC on YouTube every Wednesday, 7 to 8 p.m. CST. And we're going to stream some gameplay this coming Monday. Bobby's going to join us, and we have Miles of the Jalapeno Poppers along with me and Alcatron going to jam some games Monday at that very same YouTube channel live 7 p.m. CST. So join us for that. But that's all I got.
Okay. Well, for me, I've got Sunday. I'm doing a stream with Bobby and a special guest. Tomorrow, Is it tomorrow?
Tomorrow's
Is
Saturday.
there a tournament tomorrow?
There is a Common Cause
Yes.
event.
Common Cause at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. You can still register. It's like $16. The proceeds go to charity. Very cool. Other
pay
than
them
that,
the money.
yeah, next week I'm not going to be hosting because I'm going to be coming back from a business trip. And the Jalapeno Poppers and I think Bobby are going to be running the thing.
Oh, great.
So tune in for them. But
Yeah,
that's
sounds
all
good
I've
to
got. Let's get out of here. Have a good one. Let's look for somebody
Goodbye.
to raid. Thank you for watching until the end. If you've not already, please like this video, subscribe, and comment to help promote Pauper Commander, and feel free to check out our other videos.